I can't believe I'm saying this, but 65 years ago in 1957, Santa Claus brought my grandfather a Super 8 movie camera for Christmas, and he filmed me and my younger brother Bruce on Christmas Day. That's me on the left, and that's Bruce on the right, and that's my dad. I was 4 years old and Bruce was 2, and I do remember that train set. But that's about all I remember of that day. I have no idea whose house this is. It doesn't look familiar at all. For the past 65 years, this film footage has been sitting in a box in various closets in various homes throughout the years, but no one ever bothered to project it and show it, so I never had any idea what was on the reels. I was always curious and wanted to know, and for quite some time now I've been wanting to have it digitized so I could see it, but I just never got around to it. My daughter Marcia lives in Newport Beach, California, and she's really into genealogy and ancestry, and was telling me that her local library just down the street from where they live has scanners to scan old photos, and they even have equipment to digitize old film footage like this. So for my Christmas present this year from Marcia, she spent many hours and a couple of days digitizing all of that film footage that hasn't been seen since it was originally filmed 65 years ago. That's my Uncle Cletus on the right, and I don't know who the other guy is, and I sure don't know why they're digging up the yard at my great-grandmother's house in Bell, California. Growing up in the 1950s and 60s, I was really fortunate to have a very large extended family. I had dozens of nephews and nieces and cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents and great-grandparents. And everyone lived in Southern California, and we all got together for many of the holidays like Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving, and for 4th of July picnics. I was really lucky to have such a great family and a really ideal childhood. Right next door to my great-grandparents lived my grandmother's sister, Leela May, and her husband, Cletus, and this is one of the many Christmases where all of the relatives gathered to spend Christmas at their house. Years later, when my grandparents moved to Palm Springs, many of the Christmas gatherings were at their house in the desert. I don't have a lot of memories from when I was this age, but I definitely do remember all of the get-togethers with the huge family and how much fun it was. It's probably the thing I miss most about my childhood. By the late 1970s, most of the family, at least the older generation, had died, and the younger generation had moved away to different cities and states, and family get-togethers and reunions were just a thing of the past. I think that's my grandmother's sister Anne on the left, and my grandmother is on the right. And I don't really recognize the house. I guess it could be Leela May and Cletus's house, or maybe my great-grandmother's house. Maybe this is my grandparents' house, one that I don't remember. They did have a piano, even though I don't remember anyone ever playing a piano, and this does look like their TV, and I sort of recognize that clock on top of the TV, so this very well could be their house. The first house I actually remember them living in was on Cherry Lee Drive in El Monte, and this doesn't look like that house, but it does look like it's still Christmas, so maybe this was a house they lived in before the home on Cherry Lee Drive that I have so many great memories from. What I wouldn't give to be able to hear all of their voices again. But I guess back in 1957, Super 8 cameras didn't have audio, or at least my grandfather's didn't. It's weird to think that it would be another 50 years before the iPhone was invented in 2007. And I wonder if iPhone and YouTube had existed back in 1957, if my grandfather would have been a YouTuber. It's kind of fun to imagine. And what would Christmas be in 1957 without someone lighting a cigarette? My grandmother never smoked, but my grandfather definitely did, and just about everybody else in the family did too. And it looks like we're still in the same living room, but this is a different couple, and my grandmother seems to have on a different outfit, so I'm not sure this is still Christmas. And this may or may not still be Christmas Day. I don't recognize the house or the yard, but I'm pretty sure the little girl is my cousin Pam. And of course my brother Bruce, and my mom is also here. And we look about the same age, so it's possible that this is in front of Leela May and Cletus's house or my great-grandparents' house. Wherever we are, we seem to be having fun. I hope you all have happy memories of Christmases past, and lots of old vintage photos and videos. It's kind of fun to think that my grandfather and my daughter never met, but together they managed to give me the best Christmas present ever. I hope that those of you watching also get the perfect Christmas gifts this year, and that they're as personal and as memorable as this one. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone, And until our next trip down memory lane together, thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.